Welcome to Fourth and Goal. And for the first time ever, a live edition. We have a live call all the way from Denver, Colorado. We have Fourth and Goal podcast analyst and reporter Doug Peterson. So, Doug, I heard you got us some news from about the new C.J. Anderson injury. What do you got for us, Doug?
Oh, yeah, seems that from what I'm hearing from Coach Kubiak and the rest of the Denver Broncos, C.J. Anderson's about to find himself out for about 2 to 4 weeks.
2 to 4 weeks? Oh, my Lord. Man, but you heard it here, guys. Remember, when you heard C.J. Anderson out for 2 to 4 weeks, that's all Fourth and Goal right there. On. What is this? What is this? We're getting another call. This one from, another one of our reporters out in Philadelphia, PA. Let's go. What do you got for us, Ricky?
Oh, yeah, I'm got some new breaking news on C.J. Anderson. Apparently his knee's okay. It's going to be completely fine, guys. All fantasy owners do not have to worry about C.J. Anderson. He's going to be able to play this weekend.
Oh, my God. This is crazy. Can you believe this, guys? 2 breaking stories on our podcast tonight. And, I guess you heard it here at first. We heard that C.J. Anderson is going to be out for 2 to 4 weeks. Now we're actually hearing that he's completely fine and he's going to be able to play. So for everybody who wasted a pick on Devontae Booker, I feel bad for you guys. He's going to be back in the backup role. Pretty terrible, actually, if you ask me. But, oh my Lord. We have another one. Oh my God, let's answer this. Hello? Oh my Lord, put him on the air. Get him live real quick. Get him live. This is crazy. More breaking news. Another story about C.J. Anderson. We're going to Greg Danielson for the latest breaking news we have.
Yeah, Greg Danielson here. Apparently C.J. Anderson now is going to be out for about the whole season. I know we've heard that C.J. Anderson's out for 2 to 3 weeks, and then apparently he's going to play, but he's going to have it repaired, torn meniscus, out for the season.
Unfortunately, none of that breaking news was actually true. Welcome to the intro. This is Fourth and Goal.
Actually, the end of that was...
We'll talk about C.J. Anderson.
The end of that was true because
it is pretty crazy.
He's on the IR, so that's it.
But I thought that'd be funny because I don't know if you guys watched Twitter today. I went on during work. It was about lunch break. And all of a sudden, I didn't even hear anything during the game. But apparently C.J. Anderson, he was going in for an MRI today. And the first thing I saw, 2 to 4 weeks. Oh, yeah, that's pretty good. Okay.
Because they were calling it a bone bruise at first.
So I put my phone down for a second, take a bite of my sandwich, have a little bit of pineapples, and then next thing I'm like, let me check Twitter again. Thought of something great to tweet. Comedy gold on that Twitter. You guys should follow.
At Fourth and Goal.
And all of a sudden, another guy, I think it was Adam Schefter, saying, this just in, breaking news on C.J. Anderson, he's going to be completely fine. I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. Like, apparently 2 to 4 weeks, that's great for owners. Now it's nothing. And I was like, okay, I can put my phone down now. And I scrolled up a little bit more, and all of a sudden I see another tweet. And now he's out for the season.
Yep.
I'm just sitting there, I'm like, hold on.
That's typical media, though.
Things move pretty quickly with that one.
Yeah, that's typical media.
Well, which one is it? Like, what's going on?
Everyone has their inside people, but sometimes that are very incorrect, and that's just proven again today.
Oh, it's terrible. But like Craig and everybody said, C.J. Anderson will have he has a torn meniscus. He's going to opt for surgery, and there's a big possibility he's going to be out for the whole season.
Yeah.
And it's hard on owners. C.J. Anderson has been the main focus mainly of that offense. They want to run that ball. And torn meniscus, it's going to most likely, depending on how well the surgery goes, like best chance he'll probably be out for the season. Could possibly even miss a little bit of next season with that injury coming so late.
Yeah, that's true. But I think it's only a problem for fantasy owners if you didn't end up getting Devontae Booker because, like you said, that offense is run first. So they're going to continue to feed the ball to the running back. And if you look at the last game where they both actually shared carries, they totaled 33 carries. So I wouldn't see them trying to run Devontae Booker that much, although he did have 17 rushes. So I can see them getting him like in the 20 to 25 range per game because they like to run first and in goal line situations. So he's a good asset to have. I think he's a good fill-in. He's shown a lot of promise when he's gotten the ball. So I think he's going to actually fill CJ's role pretty nicely.
Yeah, I think going forward, he's probably going to be a top 15 play.
Yeah,
in almost every league. He's the Broncos run the ball very well. CJ Anderson was having a great start to the year. So I think Devontae Booker picks right up where he left off, especially after he showed what he can do last game. 17 carries for 83 yards and a touchdown. I think the Broncos are going to continue to do what they do, and Booker's going to be a big part of that.
And their upcoming schedule is particularly weak in the rush defense, so I can see them capitalizing.
And we'll touch a little bit more on Devontae Booker in a little bit. I want to get these game balls in and get into this crazy news for Week 8. So I'll start us off with game balls. And my game ball this week won me 2 games this week in fantasy, which I have not done all season. Not only that, more importantly, this is the 4th man in the NFL history to rush for back-to-back 200-yard games. I'm going with Jay Ajayi of the Miami Dolphins. Back-to-back.
It's a
Ajayi. Sounds a little familiar.
It's Ajayi. If you're going to have him and play him, at least get his last name correct.
Ajayi, it don't matter. The kid's killing it right now.
No matter what, he's still going to get you 200 yards. Last 2 games. Week 6 against Pittsburgh. 204 yards, 2 touchdowns. Good for 32.5 points. I started him. I picked him up. I was like, you know what? I'll give the kid a shot. Why not? He goes off 28 carries, 214 yards, adds another touchdown for a 27.5. Effectively winning me 2 fantasy games this year. Oh, I love it, baby. I'm going to be riding the J train all the way back to the playoffs.
I hate that you use his name incorrectly.
It's way funnier to say Aj.
I think that's just how you thought it was pronounced.
JJ.
I'm almost positive.
I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, I'm not a fantasy football podcast analyst or anything.
We know.
But yeah, my game ball is going to Ajay. Ajay.
Is that even English?
Right. Yeah, I'm saying his name correctly, apparently.
Well, I'm going to steal this away from you because you were babbling. And I'm going to go ahead and give my game ball to A.J. Green, who continues to have a monster season. He's headed towards All-Pro year.
It's Gren. It's A.J. Gren.
All right. We don't need fake. We don't need fake corrections here.
Check that.
Ball.
Real corrections.
So A.J. Green went off for 8 catches, 169 yards, and a touchdown. He had 26 points in the half-point PPR league that we have. He continues to show that he's a consistent player. The only down week he had was against Denver, which is expected for all wide receivers. So I think A.J. Green is showing that he should have been drafted higher in most draft orders. Like his average draft position was like 12 to 15, I think. And he's proving that he should have been like in the 6, maybe 7 region, maybe even before that. I mean, he should have gone before DeAndre Hopkins. So A.J. Green is balling out, and I think he's going to, like I said, have an all-pro season.
Yeah, massive.
He looks unstoppable right now.
I mean,
the way he catches the ball, though, is absurd.
And he always
the Hail Mary that he reeled in, yeah, and the sideline 40-yard catch he had, one-handed, he's ridiculous.
He's a monster. I love A.J. Green. Really gets it done week in, week out. He's another guy you could pretty much give a game ball to every single week. So I like that game ball.
Thanks, bro.
Very smart kid.
I like that a lot.
Who we got?
I'll go next right here. And I love my game ball this week. I'm going to be giving it to those boys out there in Philly, the Eagles' defense. The way they shut down the Vikings' offense this week. Philly was good for 25 points in fantasy, which was, I believe, the week high by a lot for the defenses. They had 6 sacks, 2 fumbles recovered, and 2 interceptions. And although it's not really part of the defense, they also took a kickback to the house as well. So,
well, I mean, it is defense special teams.
Fantasy owners love that right there. And they allowed less than 300 yards
They almost had 2 touchdowns too. They called back
an interception. Got called back as well. That they almost had for a touchdown.
So
actually, my mistake. Sorry, a strip sack. Almost got recovered.
They said he was
touchdown.
down by contact,
So they could have had a 31 even, which would have been ridiculous. But yeah, they put a hurting on the Vikings offense this week. They're impressive. So I got to go with that Philly defense.
I like it. They outscored a lot of players, so.
Yeah, anytime you can get 25 out of your defense,
25
it's pretty good
is
for
no
you that
joke.
week.
Absolutely. Pace?
Yeah, wrap us up.
Stop stalling. Do you have it or not?
I'm stalling. I'm sorry.
But
I got a game ball for you.
You got a guy for us?
I got something for you.
Oh, Lord.
I'm going with Devontae Adams.
No.
The kid.
The cheese head.
The cheese head. That's right, Craig.
The new number 1 in Green Bay?
Well, somehow
possibly.
Chicago.
Ty looks like it, though. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
well,
I'll let you talk.
No, I was just saying that somehow Chicago held Jordy Nelson to 1 catch last week, which is absurd.
Disrespectful.
So somebody had to catch those Aaron Rodgers balls because he was finning to come back after that slump everyone liked to talk about. And maybe he's still in. We'll see.
Relax with that.
Slanging
Mr.
the
Rogers'
rock.
neighborhood.
Slanging. He threw the ball like 50 times, didn't he?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
39 completions. Broke the franchise record. But Devontae Adams went off 13 catches out of 16 targets for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. Packers got the win. Devontae Adams ate cake.
You can't beat 2
Easy
TDs.
game all right there.
13 catches is ridiculous.
Yeah, he should have had more, too. He
That's
dropped
fine.
a couple. And Rodgers overthrew him on a couple, so he could have easily had like 17.
For sure. He was open a lot for sure.
Yeah, he was killing the defense.
Oh, Rodgers fed him all.
Well, he didn't have anyone else.
Oh.
He was off target with Jordy on that deep ball.
Yeah, really, Jordy was about the only one who really struggled. I had him. He put up a 0.5 for me. Thank God for the half-point PPR.
Anyone know how many targets Jordy had?
4.
Was it 4?
targets.
Because Adams saw 16.
Yeah, that's insane.
Adams, Cobb, and Ty Montgomery also had 10 catches in the game where Jordy only had 1.
Well,
Actually,
Ty kind of has that little boost from being in the running back position. So a lot of the time, Rodgers was checking down to him.
He caught a lot of swings out of the backfield.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of dump off passes. And so in PPR or half PPR, that's great because, I mean, any time that you get points is great. So 0.5 here, plus you get additional yards after the catch. But yeah, I could definitely see Devontae Adams and Ty Montgomery having bigger roles in fantasy and on that offense from here on out.
For sure.
I love Ty Montgomery's role in that offense right now. I can see Niles Davis and Don Jackson taking over a couple more of those carries every now and then, but they're going to use Montgomery in the backfield and they're going to let him roll, and I love it.
Yeah, you think they're going to consistently stick with him?
Yeah. I mean, watching him in college, he was so versatile. They were kind of stupid not to use that versatility last year. Took them till this point in this season to use
because they were desperate.
Yeah. Oh,
Starks
and
was
it paid
out.
off.
Eddie Lacy was out. They had to find a running back. So
Yeah. But that's your game balls this week. You got some great game balls. Interruption. We got some great game balls. I can't see all the way over there. Hey, great. Sorry about that. So, as is tradition, right from the game balls, we're going to hop right into the bye week blues. And we got a record for this season. 6 teams on the bye. And they are as follows. The Baltimore Ravens, the Los Angeles Rams, the Miami Dolphins, the New York Giants, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the San Francisco 49ers.
a lot of studs.
Lots of studs.
A lot of studs.
Well, when you have six teams on a bye, that's automatically, no matter who they are, you're going to find a couple studs in there. This is just a lot of studs. So, as usual, we're going to start off with a quarterback. And
I'm going to go here.
Craig's going to go. We'll start us off. Who can you give me for quarterback?
I can give you a... Oh, my Lord, hairball.
Oh, no.
I can give you Jameis Winston, also known as Famous.
Famous Winston.
What a stud.
That's right. Jameis last week was 21 of 30 for 269 yards and 3 touchdowns, put up a 26. He's 13th overall ranked quarterback, and this week he goes up against Oakland secondary, which has been questionable all season long, except for last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars, but that's more of a Blake Bortles issue. I see Jameis could go off. He could definitely going to get you high-end teens, or he could go above and beyond. I could see over 32 as well, like 300 yards, 2-3 touchdowns. Jameis would be an easy fill-in spot for this week for quarterback, and he's only owned in 26.5% of leagues. So you can definitely find him in majority of leagues, so go out and get him.
Yeah, good matchup against a really, really slow secondary in Oakland. I really like that one.
Thanks.
Oh, no problem, Gay. I guess I'm going to kick us off with number 2. And it's a guy who really didn't do anything last week, but he played a really good defense. I think I'm going to go with Sammy Sleeves right here, playing the Chicago Bears.
Sammy Sleeves.
Yeah. Like I said, rough sledding for Sammy Sleeves against his old team over in Philadelphia. 225 yards, only 1 touchdown. He had 1 pick and 2 fumbles.
Yeah.
That got him a fat 8.
He really got beat up last week.
I definitely do not see the Chicago Bears letting that happen.
Is it in Chicago or Minnesota?
It is in Chicago.
Well, they surprisingly have been
either
playing
way,
decently defensively at home.
That secondary is garbage.
True.
Sammy Sleeves, before that game, he had 6 touchdowns, no turnovers. I think he turns back into that Sam Bradford. The Chicago Bears pass rush, while not the worst, is not Philly's. Their secondary is actually way worse than Philly's, which, no offense, Philly fans, it's a little hard.
The Vikings' O-line is very questionable, though.
Oh, yes, but like I said, they're not going to be seeing that Philadelphia Eagle pressure. I think Sammy Sleeves goes for close to 300 and 2 to 3 touchdowns, actually, on these guys breaking out. I see a lot of Stephon Diggs in this game, a lot of Kyle Rudolph, and it's not a terrible start. A guy who really doesn't turn over the ball. He's not losing you any points.
Is Diggs healthy?
Diggs? I'm pretty sure Diggs is healthy.
He's been questionable the last couple of weeks. Is he finally healthy?
He didn't look very healthy against the Eagles last week.
No, he didn't. I think he had like 1 or 2 catches.
Yeah.
That usually takes you about a game or 2. He's
game.
also going to see no safeties like McLeod and Jenkins. And overall, it's just a huge drop-off from Philadelphia's defense to Chicago. So no matter, even if he did have a bad game, I think Stephon Diggs, even a little injured, can get some work in against the Chicago secondary.
Good call, bro.
So yeah, 5.8% of leagues, you're going to find Sammy Sleeves. I think you might even want to give him a little shot this week. So who's going to bring us with that third quarterback? I'm thinning. I need somebody.
I'll bring us in with the third QB.
Options. Who we got?
Typical pace last. Go ahead.
This week I'm going with a guy that's got a pretty good matchup, and that's Andy Dalton of the Bengals going against Washington. He's available in about 73% of leagues still, which is pretty surprising because he's actually the 10th ranked fantasy quarterback currently. Last week he did versus Cleveland. I mean, the weak matchup for him, but he did what he should have, which is 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, got you at 24 in fantasy.
Did you see what he said when he threw the Hail Mary?
What did he say?
Cleveland, this is for you.
The week before, he had 250 yards and a touchdown with no turnover against New England. So Andy Dalton's been playing been playing some pretty good football lately.
Yeah, I started him in 2 different games this year already, actually, as a streaming quarterback, and he got me 24 and a 25, so I can't complain.
Yeah.
He's been very efficient.
He's been playing pretty well, and he's got Washington this week, who allow a lot of pass yards, save a few injuries right now for them on defense as well. So I just think with a nice home game versus Washington, as a streaming option, Andy Dalton looks pretty good, and you could probably use him going forward, despite the fact that he does have a bye following this game.
Yeah, because now that Eifred's getting back into the mix, once he gets a little more conditioned and healthier, he'll be much more efficient in the red zone.
Exactly.
More weapons. So
decent quarterback, good weapons on a pretty good team. So I don't know. I'm liking Andy Dalton this week, especially against Washington. What about you, Pace? Wrapping us up with the QBs.
Wrapping us up with the QBs. I'm saying this week, if you need to stream a quarterback, I know what you're going to say, and I know how it sounds.
Don't even say it then, dude.
But this week, you're going to go pick up Ryan Fitzpatrick.
That is the worst advice I've ever heard.
The Magic? Is it back so soon?
He's back. He is back. Gino out for the year with that ACL, as we have all heard.
Poof, there goes the jab.
Now this week, the Craig. I'm looking at Craig, seeing him cringing over here.
Because you're telling him to pick up a quarterback who has 11 interceptions in 6 games?
That's true, but you know what happened the last time Ryan Fitzpatrick got benched and then came back a few games later?
What's that?
threw for 6 touchdowns. That was back in 2014 when he was on the Texans. Got benched for a little bit, came back in, first game, threw 6 TDs. So I'm going for a bold prediction this week.
That is very bold.
And,
I'll give you that much.
Playing Cleveland.
Might get 6 more against them.
Could. Probably not, but maybe. But these are for my bolder gentlemen out there that need someone to start.
That's
Ryan
ballsy.
Fitzpatrick against Cleveland.
Definitely ballsy. I mean, the
Ballsy for
matchup's
sure.
there, but ballsy.
Yeah, against Cleveland, it's hard not to start a guy against Cleveland. Even a guy who's thrown 11 interceptions. When he came back last week after Geno got hurt against a pretty good Ravens defense, threw for 120 yards and a touchdown, no picks. Against Cleveland, he's going to...
Dump offs.
Dump offs, doesn't matter. He's going to find his way into the end zone. I like Ryan Fitzpatrick for this week at least.
Yeah, right.
It's not terrible.
You'll never get me on board with that.
Not horrible. Get on board.
You shall see.
No way. I'd rather start someone else.
But there's your
Alex Smith, even.
Alex Smith, you think?
At least Alex
Smith's
Smith will
gotta
get me. At least Alex Smith, I know, will get me 10 points.
Again, against Indianapolis, that's not a bad matchup either, unfortunately.
Well, he's not much of a deep thrower either, so I don't see him really popping off unless he gets lucky. A lot of yards after the catch, running into the end zone, something like that.
Yeah, no doubt.
So if you need a quarterback, feel free to grab any of those guys up. And Alex Smith will throw that 5th one in there. The beautiful matchup against Indianapolis. So, thought the quarterbacks were bad. Listen to all these running backs that are out. Le'Veon Bell, Todd Gurley, Rashad Jennings, me, Carlos Hyde. We got Terrence West, who's actually been playing really good.
Yeah, he's been playing excellent.
And my brother from another mother, Jay Ajay. All out this week. I need a running back for sure. I know a lot of you need running backs. Who are we looking at? Who wants to kick us up?
I'll kick us off with the running backs. A guy I'm talking about this week, if you're in a desperation situation, is running back for the Washington Redskins. And I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking I'm telling you to pick up that bum Matt Jones. But I'm not. I'm talking about the 3rd down backup, potentially even the new starter for the Redskins, and that's Chris Thompson. If you're in a PPR league, you're already familiar with this guy, but Chris Thompson has been playing pretty well of late. He's owned in about 20% of leagues, so he's still available in pretty much almost every league. 80% of leagues still available, so you can definitely go out there and get him if you need a spot start this week. Mm-hmm. But I mean, he has at least 4 targets in the last 5 games. So as a running back out of the backfield, if you're getting that PPR work, that's dividends getting stacked onto your flex play right there. And something happened last week in the Redskins game. Matt Jones fumbled twice.
Yeah, he always fumbles.
Yeah.
Following that, he actually didn't see much playing time. Thompson pretty much finished the rest of the game at running back. He had 12 carries for 73 yards. So, in my opinion, he showed Washington that he could play both their 3rd down and their early down back. So I think this week, if you're looking for a potential starter in a big spot, Washington's at Cincinnati. I don't see them being up in this game. They'll probably be down throwing. So I think Chris Thompson could potentially get you double digits, maybe even 15 to 20 in this game.
Yeah, I think that's a really good pick. I was thinking that one too, for sure. That's a great pickup, and I'm sure you can get him. Like you said, he's not really a hot commodity right now on the waivers, so he should be should be there to be picked up. And I could definitely see starting him this week for sure.
Very under the radar.
He's
had 21 carries the last 2 weeks actually as the backup.
Yeah, I think he's actually has more carries than Matt Jones, right?
I believe so.
I'm pretty sure he does.
Last week he outcarried Matt Jones.
Yeah. And once you're a running back and you start fumbling, especially on the goal line,
That's it.
That's when
You
you
get
start
cut.
losing your job.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
For sure.
Way too important.
But I got a running back for you guys this week.
Who dat?
Someone I really like, actually, for the week, depending on how the situation goes. But I'm saying go pick up the Vikings running back, Matt Asiata.
Okay, Asiata, I like that.
Now, he's a start this week if McKinnon doesn't end up playing. He's got this ankle injury, and I don't believe he's been practicing. But, I think he's just still questionable. But all signs point to McKinnon not playing. So I think Matt Asiata would be the way to go for sure. He'll get the starting back. He's also a decent receiving back, too. They played the Eagles last week, and he only got 25 yards catching. But he still made 6 catches. So they're definitely looking to him on the receiving end of the game. And this week they've got Chicago, the Vikings do, playing in Chicago. So I think the Vikings will probably be able to hold Chicago to a few points. They'll have the lead. They'll be up most of the game, and they'll just be trying to run the clock out. and Asiata will be getting his touches that way. So for this week, I think it's a good start. And they play some who the Vikings play coming up? Chicago, Detroit, Washington, Cardinals, Detroit.
Detroit's
again.
terrible.
Yeah, there's some soft defenses, and plus he was already their goal line back. So I agree with you. I think I really like him.
Yeah, with McKinnon out.
As a spot starter this week for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. He Asiata in our league got a 16.5.
How many leagues
in
is
week
he owned
5. And in week 7 he got a 10. And Craig, he is owned in 30% of leagues.
Wow,
that's
so you
nothing.
can definitely still go get him.
Yeah,
So
you
definitely,
can
pick him
get
up,
him on that.
at least for this game and the next, and we'll see what he does and what McKinnon does. But this week, he's a start for sure. Starting running back for the Vikings, who have a great D and are probably trying to control the clock and run the ball a lot. I think that's a good start for sure.
Yeah, buddy. I'll take
boy.
that. Looking through my leagues, there's a lot of scraps out there on the waiver, boys. Between a lot of different positions, mainly running back. I mean, the fact that Duke Johnson Jr. is at the top of the list shows you how barren of a wasteland there is.
Terrible.
Makes me sad, Mitzi.
It really does. Yeah, I have a problem with a lot of the spot-in running backs this week, to be honest. I would tell you guys to select TJ Yeldon before tonight, but this won't be posted till after then, so I'm going to change that.
Hopefully you're listening live.
That would have been a bad pick anyway.
Yeah, well, you'll see. I bet you he gets you a 13 this week.
13.
Yeah,
Check that.
that's
We're
decent.
going to check that after this one.
Check that.
I'm going just balls to the wall on this because, like I said, there's nothing I really like. I'm going to go CJ Prozis or something. I don't know. Seattle
Precise?
Seahawks? Yeah.
Precise.
Wow.
He's the backup running back in Seattle. But, I mean, there really isn't much help out there. They're going against New Orleans, which I can see them being
Great
able to
matchup.
bust open. Yeah, so, I mean, he has a possibility. He hasn't really done much this year, but who knows?
Great pick.
You know, somebody asked me, hey, Bass, I need a running back. I say, don't worry, I'm about to give you a wide receiver. This week, I'm going to give you a wide receiver / running back. Ty Montgomery.
My Hail Mary.
Owned in 35.4% of leagues. I thought that'd be a lot higher. A
How was
lot
that?
of you guys can go get this man. I guess nobody watches football anymore. I know the ratings are down, but I don't. He's now a wide receiver running back, so you can start him in that running back position. And yeah, he was kind of all of Green Bay's offense besides Devontae Adams last week. They gave the man 10 carries, had 66 yards on the 10 receptions. He had 66 yards through the air. And then on the ground, they gave him 9 carries for 60 yards. He was good for 17 points in our league. That PPR was beautiful.
Wow.
It's sounding like Niles Davis and Don Jackson still both aren't ready. Niles Davis still has to learn the offense. And Don Jackson, who's just got promoted from practice squad, he's got to kind of try and fit in and also learn that offense. So in the meanwhile, they're going to be feeding Ty Montgomery in and out. He looked effective on the ground. They love throwing to him out of the backfield. So if you need a spot start, like I said, I thought he'd be on a lot more teams by now. Go grab up Ty Montgomery.
Why you still can? You can play him at both receiver and running back.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
crazy. It's one of the
crazy
first
commodity.
players since
And he
a
has
couple
a huge
years
role
ago.
right now in Green Bay's
Yeah.
offense.
Since a couple years ago when McCluster was playing for the
Yeah,
Chiefs.
you're right.
That was the last time
That's
I
true,
remember
yeah.
ever seeing a receiver running back. So it's a hot commodity, apparently. Go get him.
I respect that, Bass.
Yeah? Oh, you gotta respect it.
I'm so
Yeah.
shocked by 30% owned. I thought that was like a known thing right now to go pick up Ty Montgomery. That's
Right?
That's surprising.
True.
And that'll do it for running backs. And
Yeah.
I wish I could say right now that when you ask me for a running back, I mean a wide receiver, I give you a running back. Unfortunately, I can't. There are a lot of good receivers out there. We're going to need it on the bye this week. Ant Brown, Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, Mike Wallace has been popping off. Even guys like Torrey Smith, the deep threats, they're still very valuable. Guys, I need some receivers. Who you
Receiver
got for
help
me?
is on the way. I got you, Paul.
Who you got for me?
It's a guy that you loved the other week named Anquan Bolden.
Oh, I love Anquan.
Let's just go through his last couple of games. Starting from week 2, he had a 12, then a 10, 2 6s, a 16, and a 9.5, including 2 touchdowns the last 2 weeks. They're versing Houston, who has a bunch of injured players at the secondary, so their fill-ins, even one of their second-string cornerbacks is also hurt, so they're really depleted in the secondary. Anquan's a veteran. He's always been an excellent route runner. I can see him finding space in between the defense. The way that Matt Stafford's been playing, he's almost got basically 70% completion percentage. I see that he's going to find him. I can see Anquan getting about 70 yards and a touchdown.
I could also see that he's been very reliable for Stafford this year.
Yeah, surprisingly only owned in 13.3% of leagues.
Somehow. PPR people,
So
I guess, aren't paying attention as well.
Yeah, I don't know. He had a 9.5 last week.
Caught another touchdown, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, last 2 weeks.
Fourth on the year?
Yeah, 4th on the year.
What is he, 35 and he's still making plays?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anquan Bolden's the man.
He's a tough guy.
It's a monster, and Stafford is looking great this year. He's looking towards Anquan Bolden when he goes in that red zone, and it seems like, Golden Tate's going off now, but Marvin Jones is kind of taking
He's quieted down, yeah.
And the only guy really who stayed steady is Anquan Bolden. So, definitely a guy I would be looking to pick up. I like him.
No doubt. Pace, you want to defend your boy?
Who we defending?
You want to defend Marvin Jones?
Do I want to defend him? There's nothing to defend. The numbers are there. He produces every week. I mean,
Them touchdowns are huge. He does get about a touchdown a week.
he's a big body, good hands. He'll catch his touchdowns. Detroit's great at driving all the way down the field, getting to the goal line, and then not being able to run it in, so they end up throwing it in.
Which is great.
So in terms of fantasy, Marvin Jones, I haven't had any issue with him yet. He's a tough start this week. I know his matchup isn't the best. He's playing Houston.
It's definitely a good start.
And I've definitely pondered not playing him, but I'm going to because he hasn't let me down yet. He's one of my reliable players.
He's about to get 200 yards.
I think so.
Yeah. And,
At least.
Easy.
yeah, I have Marvin Jones as well. I also have Golden Tate in both leagues, so I've been kind of struggling who to start. I'm going to keep Marvin Jones in. He gets the touchdowns.
Bigger target.
Golden Tate going off. Who are you going to cover? It's kind of a 50-50 toss at this point. It's unfortunate. But I still believe in Marvin Jones. He looked like I wasn't calling him Calvin 2.0 for nothing. He just needs to start proving me right again. But you need another receiver. I was going to use this guy for my Hail Mary, and then I switched it up. So I'm going to throw him in. I'm going to go with Adam Thielen this week.
Okay.
Cool.
Adam Thielen, don't get me wrong. He had a bad game last week. A kind of bad game. He only had 2 catches against the Philadelphia Eagles, 52 yards. So he had the yards, but the catches weren't there. Bradford was under pressure all game. He had the bye in week 6. And then week 5, out of nowhere, 7 catches, 127 yards, and a touchdown for Adam Thielen. Never heard of this man's name before in my life. But I heard about him this week because he's playing the Chicago Bears. And just about everybody's on the Chicago Bears. This is a guy with Diggs struggling last week. He's still trying to get back from this injury. I could see Sammy Sleeves leaning a little bit heavier on Adam Thielen. He, as he showed in the Houston game, he really relied on him a lot.
True.
He's looking for a receiver to throw to. Can't throw to Kyle Rudolph every game. I'm saying why not Adam Thielen this week?
I like that.
All about them matchups.
Good pick, Bass.
Thank you.
Just kidding.
Who we got? Who's next? Who wants to grace me with a receiver? I need some.
I got one.
Go
You
ahead,
guys cool
Dan.
if I go ahead?
No.
Well, all right. Well, I'm
No.
going to tell you guys about a player.
Yeah.
A player.
A wide
ball
receiver,
player?
to be specific.
Who is
I
And
this
thought we
a
were
guy?
ball
talking about
player.
coaches.
Same.
Could have sworn he was.
Now, this wide receiver, I'm going to read you his numbers from the season, and you just listen. Ready?
All right.
These are his point totals. 8, 7, 16.5, 12, 15.5, 18.
Oof.
And this player's only owned in 25% of leagues.
Who could that be?
That is
I
Mike
know.
Thomas of the Saints.
Mike Thomas.
He's
I'm
owned in that
saying-
few of leagues.
That's honestly shocking to me as well, Craig. But I'm saying this week, go pick this man up. If not for this week, at least for the season, he's been really producing on the Saints offense. They've got Seattle this week. It is
It's at home,
in the
though.
dome. Yeah, it's in the
dome.
dome, which, Drew Brees can sling it around there.
For sure.
And last week, Mike Thomas went for his career high 18 points in our fantasy league, 10 catches, 130 yards without a touchdown. So if he had just found his end zone, that'd be a fire game right there. But with all the buys this week and some wide receivers not playing, Mike Thomas is the 18th ranked wideout, only owned in 25%. I think just go grab him. Why not? Put him on the bench. Play him, start him. I would start him this week, even against Seattle. I think Drew Brees has to throw to someone. You know they're going to be throwing a lot. Seattle's got a great D, but still.
Well, they've been susceptible in the secondary, apparently. The last couple of weeks, they've given up
like
like 400. They've given about 400 yards up the last 4 weeks, about 100 a week.
I mean, Arizona still had like 400 yards against them, even though that was a really low-scoring game. Arizona still moved the ball, so I could see Drew Brees and the Saints doing something similar, and Mike Thomas definitely being a part of that. And even if it is a blowout, I could see garbage time numbers too.
I really like that, man.
Exactly what happened against the Chiefs last week.
I think going forward, Michael Thomas has carved out a big enough role where that and he's also been extremely consistent with the role that he's produced. That he's been the best rookie receiver so far with a lot of good rookie performances.
Definitely.
I think Michael Thomas could potentially be a guy you could play every week in the flex soon. If
he gets a lot of looks in the red zone too.
Output.
That's what I'm saying. So consistent.
Those numbers you mentioned were incredible. His lowest was 8, I believe you said.
8 week 1 and 7 week 2, but since then, like
consistency-wise, it doesn't really get much better than that, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's on a great offense. I like Michael Thomas a lot. I can't believe he's available in so many leagues.
Yeah, that blows
Unfortunately,
my
I
mind.
don't play in any of them.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, very. I picked him up for a spot start. I think it was week 3. He went off for me. I was like, oh, that's a great spot start. Dropped him real quick. Didn't really think anything of it. I was like, I already got Mark Ingram, Willie Snead's on the offense, and Brandon Cooks. And he's still going off. Michael Thomas, man, out of Ohio State. Looks like he's still playing college ball out there.
Seriously.
Insane.
And with a great QB like Breeze, man, he can continue to roll.
Yeah, easily.
So, got any more receivers for him, or are we sliding over to the tight ends?
I'll wrap us up with the receivers this week.
Who you got?
This is a guy that's coming off of an injury. You're usually supposed to tread lightly with these guys, but I think he's going to come back with a vengeance. He hasn't played since week 2. But, Pace, I'm talking about a baller here. A true baller, yes.
Who are we talking
I
about?
think a lot of people have forgotten about this guy, and that's Colts receiver Dante Moncrief. Available in 80% of leagues currently. He returned to practice this week, and with the way the other receivers have replaced him, he's going to come back and see his role and possibly even more now. Andrew Luck is clearly missing the number 2 target. T.Y. Hilton can't do everything for this offense. I just think with the big body that Moncrief possesses, he could come back in dead time.
Man, I'll tell you, I could talk about Dante Moncrief all day. The guy last year, before Andrew Luck went down in 9 games, his projections were 1,000 yards and double-digit touchdowns.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that took a hard hit in that Denver game. I've had him stashed on my bench for weeks. Love the choice. Moncrief is the definite number 2 receiver. Andrew Luck likes
very high octane offense for Indy.
T.Y. can't do it all. Jack Doyle's doing a pretty good job, but Andrew Luck loves him some Dante Moncrief.
And he's a big guy, too. I mean, Andy needs someone big to throw to the ball to, and
Hey, all we got is short receivers.
definitely to anyone listening, the 20% owned, the time is now. Like, go pick up Moncrief
Yeah, because
now.
once he has a good
instantly.
game, that's it.
You're going to be really mad when 2-3 weeks down the road from now when Moncrief is eating cake. The Colts throw the ball a lot. There's always garbage time in their games somehow.
Exactly.
Because they're always coming back because their defense is terrible.
They're always losing, but Andy Luck can move the ball, so they're always got that.
Yeah, they have potential to score always.
So yeah, go pick up Dante Moncrief. He's likely to play this week. He told CBS in Indianapolis he'd be shocked if he wasn't on the field for Indy this weekend versus the Kansas City Chiefs.
Wow.
So if you're looking for even a desperate flex play, I would pick up Moncrief. And yeah, he's definitely a guy that you could stash on your bench for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Just make sure you check Sunday morning to make sure he's playing.
True.
Yeah.
Some
There is
some
also a
friendly
possibility. This is they said 4 to 6 weeks. This is the 6th week, but I've seen crazier things happen. So that best running wide receiver said tonight actually wraps up the receiver portion of bye week blues. So we're gonna move right into tight ends, not ruin that anymore. I'm going to give you an odd one because you know what? The tight end is a really difficult position this year. Not many people are really going off, and just about nobody is consistent. And I can't say Cameron Braid every single week because it's not working out. So I'm going to go another risky guy. He hasn't really done anything this year. I'm going to go with Virgil Green because of that matchup with San Diego. Also, they just lost C.J. Anderson. And as much as everybody is loving Devontae Booker right now, they're going to give him his carries. I just don't know if he's going to be that C.J. Anderson. San Diego's going to put up points. It's going to, even against that Denver offense, they won the last game. Why not Virgil Green? The guy, he was hurt for a couple weeks. But against Indianapolis, had 3 catches for 46 yards before he got hurt in the game. Came back against San Diego, had 3 catches for 21 yards. I see Denver throwing the ball a lot more with Simeon now that C.J. Anderson is gone. And Virgil Green, it's only a matter of time. He's so athletic that he's got to pop off. I think he has a great chance against San Diego this week. And it's a guy, like I said, in a tough tight end league. Fantasy league this year, owned in 0.3%. So most likely you can go get Virgil Green.
I think you'll be able to find him on your waiver.
Yeah. But if I could say Cameron Braid, I would have said Cameron Braid.
Wow.
Well,
yeah, well, Bass, that's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, it's ballsy.
Yeah,
But
very
it's not
ballsy.
bad.
Sometimes for this tight end position this year, you got to get ballsy.
That's
It's really
true.
hard. If you didn't get one of the studs at the top, you got to pick between scraps every week, man.
That's
It's terrible.
Speaking of scraps,
I love
Craig,
scraps.
Craig, no, stop.
I got a guy
Craig.
who knows a guy who found a guy who's missed the last 3 weeks and therefore has been chilling on the waiver wire.
Who's that?
Eric Ebron for the Lions. Hasn't played the last 3 weeks.
He's a G.
However, he's been very consistent when he has played. He's gotten a 12.5, a 7, 8.5, and a 6, and he got hurt that game. He had a 6, so he had potential to get even more. He's one of Stafford's favorite target, and his catch rate efficiency is great. He's caught 18 out of 25 passes thrown his way. So he's really performing well this season. If he can just stay healthy, I think he's going to be a pivotal part of this offense. They've also missed him in the red zone. He's just a threat there. He doesn't even have to be a target, but getting him back this week would be a big help as long as also with Theo Riddick. I think that it's going to boost the offense tremendously.
Yeah, practicing full too. This is a guy who's been supposed to pop off for about 3 years now.
He's a freak.
Yeah, he a physical freak. If he can stay on the field, he can have big games. This guy, I've been waiting for decades. I might have to go pick him up right now, though. I need a tight end for sure. Speaking of me needing tight ends, I know somebody wants to give me a tight end. Come
Dude,
on,
I just
who
gave
we
you
got?
one, you ass.
I need more. I need all the tight ends. Mainly these viewers need tight ends.
Well, I got another one for you, Bass.
Who we got?
This week, we've got a man who hopefully can play. He's dealing with a groin injury. Only practiced limited on Wednesday. And Craig is wagging the finger, so I'm feeling like I'm about to get some bad news. But I'm saying Vernon Davis.
Haha! No, I don't really have a problem with Vernon other than the fact that...
Oh, I don't care if you had a problem. I just didn't know if you had heard already that he wasn't starting.
Well, by problem, I mean he sucks.
Oh, really? Is that why he scored a 12 and a 10 the last 2 weeks?
Ooh.
Yeah, he just got lucky.
Oh, he got lucky. Interesting.
lucky.
Well, I think he's going to get lucky again this week.
Ooh, even with Jordan Reed back?
Jordan Reed is not back, I don't think.
Oh, he is, though. Been
Is he?
cleared.
I'm going to need a source on that.
Check that. Working on your source. Continue right now.
While you grab that source, let me go ahead and tell you about the 24th ranked tight end.
That sounded terrible.
Breaking news: Jordan Reed has been cleared to travel with the Redskins to London, and I'm
smiling.
Cleared to travel. That sounds an
Jordan
awful
Reed,
lot.
a top 5 tight end, likely to return back to the lineup in London for the Redskins.
Go pick up Jordan Reed. I'm changing my answer.
Jordan Reed is not available in many leagues, so don't listen to that.
Oh my lord.
If he was, I'd be on that.
This breaking news.
Well,
is killing me.
anyways, go ahead and find another one.
Go play Jason Wynn against Philly. If you
That
want a
ain't
hot
bad.
zero.
That ain't bad.
Historically, he does kill the Eagles, so that could be potentially
Historically,
a good matchup.
he's usually owned in 71% of leagues, which he is now.
Historically,
So
he's
he's
only
only
in
in
22% of
22%
leagues, so you can eat me.
Jason Witten?
Yep.
Yeah.
I got another
Trapped
turn
by
for you.
50?
This
Jesus.
is a guy we talked about at the beginning of the season. He was struggling. A lot of people have dropped him now.
I'm going to pick him up.
And he's got a familiar face starting at quarterback for him again, and that's McCown starting for the Browns. I'm going to give you Gary Barnridge, tight end.
Wow.
Gary. How many is
Last
he
week,
owned in?
he's owned in 24% of leagues.
That's
So
crazy.
you can find him in 76% still. I'm sure you could go out in your league and still grab him.
Proud.
Last week, he had 6 catches for 66 yards, which led the team in receiving yards for the Browns. This week, they have the New York Jets, who are a little banged up on defense. The middle of the field it's been a little open for them. So I think Gary Barnridge could have another big week. The Browns have been playing well and giving opponents tough games. So I think Gary B could be a big part of what Cleveland does this week.
Yeah, Gary Barnridge, the guy who came out of nowhere. He'd been in the league for a while. And then last year really popped off with McCown. Now that McCown's back and healthy, yeah, Chris Hogan had like 100 yards on the ground for a quarterback, but McCown's that tosser, and he loves tossing it up to Gary Barnridge. That's a good one.
Yeah, Chris Hogan is the wide receiver for the Patriots. Let's clear that
Check
up.
that, Kevin Hogan.
Check
for the
that, Kevin
Cleveland
Hogan
Browns.
for the Cleveland Browns. Amateur analyst.
What'd I say? Chris Hogan?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, well. I could be talking about anyone. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you
Nothing
basically
matters
sound like a
anymore.
rambling idiot right now.
Nothing that matters anymore because we're not talking about receivers anymore. We're talking about defenses.
We were talking about tight ends, so you really sound messed up.
Well, now I'm done. Now we're talking about defenses.
Well,
The minute I am proved wrong on national podcast will be the last day I do this podcast.
well, all right.
You would have stopped weeks ago if that was true.
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 All right, go ahead.
All right.
You want to talk about defenses? Tell me what you're getting for defense,
I love
dude.
talking about defense. And I was going to pick the Jaguars defense against the Titans this week, but unfortunately
bad
I
option.
can't.
Not a bad
So you know
option.
what? I'm going risky business.
No.
I'm going with that San Diego Chargers.
Boo.
Oh, I did that last week and
now
it did
check
not.
that.
Dang.
This is the number 10 ranked defense. Much improved from the bad defense they were last year. And oh wait, hon, they played Denver in week 6. And guess what they put up? An 11 spot.
True.
Only allowed 13 points to Denver and recovered 2 fumbles.
Yeah, that's not going to happen again.
Well, we'll see. Oh, it's T.J. Anderson being out. They're just going to fumble less. Only owned in 2.4% of leagues. If you're desperate, there's a lot of defenses out this week. You heard me. They played really well against Denver last time they played them. Go try out the San Diego Chargers' new defense.
That
Looking
could work.
great.
Yeah, that could work out, dude, especially with CJ gone. That's so risky, though. I think that was more of like an anomaly last time than
The highest point
any type
total
of pattern
on the
we're going to
season.
see with Chargers D. But I guess if they just did it to the... Like, it could go two ways, right? They could come into this game saying, we just shut these guys down. Let's do it again. Or the Broncos could come into the game and say, these guys shut us down last time. Let's do something mean
And
to them.
Broncos are at home.
Yeah. So I could really see it either way. But I wouldn't do that. What I
like I
would
said,
do-
I'm talking risky business. Flick the risk.
I appreciate the risk.
I love risk. That's
But
my
what I
middle
would
name.
do for you live listeners listening at home currently at 8:02 p.m. on Thursday night, I think you should go play the Titans defense against the Jags this week because
That
that's what
is
I'm doing.
so
And I'm
stupid.
smart, and this is not stupid, Craig.
You're going to look really dumb by the end of the night.
I just think this was a hard choice for me, but I did it because I think we're going to see some turnovers out of Bortles. I think we're going to see a division matchup that'll be low scoring, tough defensive battle, maybe a lot of running the ball. Definitely not any touchdowns to Allen Robinson. And that's it. So what are Titans owned in? Let me tell you that real quick. 23.9% owned. You can go get them now. Just for the week because they are nothing to scramble your eggs over. But
Scrambling what?
The scramble, yeah.
don't scramble your eggs over them.
You got egg on your face after you said pick up the Titans.
I like my eggs over easy, so I will never scramble them.
That's it.
Well, all right, dude. I'm going to slide on in Slither and Snake over here.
Yeah, Snake is right.
That's you. Anyways, I'm going to talk about them boys in Dallas. Them boys been playing a lot better recently, and I think it's a product of Ezekiel Elliott catching on to the run scheme. They've been able to control the clock better than any other team in the NFL because of their run game. They've been feeding the man like 28 times or more per game. So they're doing exactly what they did with DeMarco Murray, and you saw how good the offense was then. And the defense is better because it's more rested, isn't being rushed on onto the field. The run game really helps with that. Last game they played, they had a 9, and they haven't let a team go over 23 points this season, so I don't see why not.
True, man. I think it's a pretty good call. I think it'll be, again, like kind of the same as my pick, like division matchup. Those guys always play hard. It's a pretty good pick.
Yeah, both defenses have been playing really well that are going to be in that game, so I could see it being low scoring for sure.
Yeah.
All right, and one last one for us, like.
Yeah, breaking news.
Breaking news.
The Detroit Lions play Brock Osweiler this weekend.
Oh my!
So if you're looking to stream a defense, look for Detroit Lions defense against the Houston Texans. Also, a side note, Lamar Miller was limited in practice today. So if he can't go, I would definitely look to stream the Detroit Lions defense because I think Brock Osweiler is garbage.
Osweiler is definitely garbage, so I agree with you. I think it really relies heavily on Miller because the Lions haven't been able to stop any type of run game or...
No, but I'm not a big fan of Alfred Blue like I am Lamar Miller.
No, not at all.
You got me thinking, Slade.
Do I?
You think I should start Detroit over the Titans?
Oh.
I need some help.
Nervous.
Now we're getting into some stuff.
Now that I think about it.
Now you're thinking the Jags are about to nom.
I'm definitely not thinking that, but...
You must be if you're changing defenses.
I will tell you right now, I was doing a little research about this game, thinking about streaming a defense. I did find out that Tennessee does give up the 22nd most passing yards in the NFL, and have given up, well, it's not that much compared to all the other teams, still 9 touchdowns on the season in 6
But the Jaguars have allowed the defenses they played in fantasy to have a 7 at least the last 4 out of 5 games.
I'll probably go with the Titans then. So.
Thank you.
I don't say that
But like I said, dumb move to play the Titans.
because Allen Robinson's likely to have 2 touchdowns tonight.
Likely.
Yeah, Bortles is going to throw 4, so I can see 2 of them going out. Robinson easy.
Oh!
Ooh.
Yeah.
A-Rob. I said start A-Rob all day on Twitter. People were talking about benching A-Rob. I said, what you talking about?
If you're going to bench him, it's not this week. Maybe against
No.
like Seattle or Minnesota or something.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
You do not bench him. First off, just don't bench Allen Robinson. That man is too talented to not catch. He's got to catch on at some point. Look what he did last year.
It falls on the offensive line and the quarterback, bruh.
despite his struggles, I doubt you have anyone on your bench better than him anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
it's
did
tough to
think the
bench him.
same thing about DeAndre Hopkins, the guy you named, Slade, Dante Moncrief. I was actually thinking about playing Moncrief this week over DeAndre Hopkins.
It's tough to start a guy coming off of an injury, but Moncrief's going to have a huge role.
Especially over a star name like DeAndre Hopkins. I'm going to let Allen Robinson owners, let him ride this week. I'm going to let DeAndre ride this week.
I agree with that.
You don't bench that guy. Not yet.
I agree with that.
If they both blow it, then you start trying to shop them. That's what I'm going to put out there. Somebody like your boy Bass is going to trade for one of these guys, say, look at this name, and then trade T.Y. Hilton, his favorite player.
Yeah, I mean, that was your own decision.
Making me sad, Mitzi.
Yeah, that happens
To
people who don't think thoroughly.
True.
You've been a
Moncrief
Colt
out
fan
of it.
for years, right?
At least I got Moncrief.
So I guess you should have known who your favorite player was way before the season started. You didn't even draft him.
T.Y.'s pretty G status. He's kind of just like the third best receiver in fantasy this year.
He's kind of ultimate G status.
Kind of the biggest pimp I've ever met.
Me too.
I'll never disrespect him again.
He's a great player.
He's had weird seasons, though, where he's been oddly inconsistent at times. So
Yeah.
1 catch for 16
sometimes
yards.
he doesn't.
8 catches for 160 yards.
He struggles to score touchdowns every
year.
game. Well, I was going to say last year. This year he's been pretty good about it. But with Moncrief coming back, we'll see what happens to his production. I think nothing's going to happen. T.Y.'s a beast.
Yeah, I don't see anything
A
happening.
little biased. But that wraps up the bye week blues. Good cure. I need a cure every single week for them bye week blues, baby. And I want to throw in a new one I was just thinking about today. With the C.J. Anderson injury blowing up Twitter today, got to thinking about Devontae Booker. Then I got to thinking about all the running backs that were injured this year. And there's a lot of backup running backs who finally got their time to shine this week. So I picked out 4. I'm going to throw out the names, and we're going to talk about them real quick. You're going to tell me how you think they're going to perform. 2 of these guys have already been playing for a couple weeks. And talking about C.J. Anderson, let's talk about Devontae Booker. There's been a lot of praise for Devontae Booker tonight. And I'm going to get a little down on him. Like I said earlier, Devontae Booker is not C.J. Anderson.
He might be better.
While I believe he should be owned in 100% of leagues just because of the team he plays on and the Gary Kubiak wants to run the ball, I think that a lot of his production coming from this season was being the spellback for a guy like C.J. Anderson, a guy who can go pound the defense and tire him out. Great change of pace guy, but I just don't know if he's really going to be able to handle the lead back role this year. Anybody disagree with me?
I do, 100%, honestly. What I've seen from Devontae Booker when he plays is that he looks very elusive. He's not afraid to lower his shoulder and knock some guys over. He had a lot of yards after contact last week, and he's fresh, and he's a rookie, and he's young, so he's going to try to prove himself in the NFL, which means he's going to run hard every single play. You know you're going to get the best out of him. That offensive line is pretty good, and their zone blocking scheme that Kubiak runs has been very efficient for the last 2 seasons, so I see that he can fill in the spot nicely. He showed last week that he can be a lead back. He had more carries than Anderson with 17. 83 yards and a touchdown, so I can see him being a very pivotal part of the offense. That's what I'd have to say to you, Bass. I mean, that's just my personal opinion, but
he runs well, man. From what the games I watch him in, he's always getting yards.
That's what I mean.
He's really fast.
He busts through the hole pretty quick.
Yeah,
so
he's good. I like him.
I think he's going to be an efficient player.
As long as he doesn't fumble and he keeps getting production, they'll keep feeding him, and they'll try to get the most balanced offense they can.
Yeah, especially because Simeon, this is his first season starting, so why wouldn't you want to have the run game established every game? You know what I mean? Set up the play action, get the box, a little empty, get some pressure off the quarterback.
Too bad young Slade here didn't agree with us all.
He didn't.
Young Slade made a trade.
Oh, yeah, he told me. Well, I mean,
that's the smartest trade I've
That's a
ever
little
heard.
hard, though,
The
because
trade had nothing to do with what I thought about Devontae Booker.
the Vikings' defense
Must have a little
is
bit.
hard to...
I was offered today.
Yeah.
Yesterday I picked up the Devontae Booker in free agency, simply because he was the best player available, and I dropped Cameron Meredith, who had a very bad week for him and is now questionable for the Sunday's game anyway. But a guy in my league, I stream a defense every week, noticed that I needed one, so he offered me the Vikings defense, the number 1 overall defense, straight up for Devontae Booker, and I snatched that deal immediately.
You had to.
Now, see, I am a guy that I have Le'Veon Bell, Lamar Miller, Spencer Ware, and an injured Doug Martin on my team. I also have the handcuffs to Bell with Williams and the handcuff to Martin with Jaquiz Rogers. So I figured I wasn't really losing much trading away Booker, albeit he has a ton of potential getting back the number 1 defense.
Oh, yeah, because you probably would never start him over Le'Veon or Spencer Ware as long as Jamal Charles' role is limited.
Spencer Ware and Le'Veon now have had their buys, so
Yeah.
going forward, I'm probably starting them every week with Lamar Miller in the flex.
And then you have your defense that you're going to be starting every week, the Vikings.
Exactly. Now I'll have the Vikings defense, and I'll still have Doug Martin.
Yeah, I don't see a
as
problem
my
with that
bench
trade.
running backs. Yeah, but I'm agreeing with you guys. I think Devontae Booker going forward, I may have made a mistake. He could be a top 10 running back.
He has the
going forward
potential
until the end
there.
of the year. He's going to see a ton of rushes and carries. Could see a few catches out of the backfield too. I don't believe they have a go-to receiving back.
No,
So he'll
they
likely
switched
stay in on
off.
third down.
Yeah, they switched off.
I think Devontae Booker, he's a rookie. He's got fresh legs. I think he's gonna be really good going down the stretch. And the Broncos have a great offensive line.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Who's the other guy you got?
Got another one for you. We just talked about Doug Martin. He was a guy who was supposed to play last week.
For sure.
Aggravated his injury before the week and couldn't play. But they got a pretty good running back out there they just picked up this season in Jaquiz Rogers.
He's been amazing, honestly.
Which is surprising.
Over 250 yards rushing in his first 2 starts.
Yeah.
Combined.
He had 101 yards against Carolina, good for a 14.5 in our league. Also had 5 catches that game. Then had his bye in week 6. Then had 26 carries for 154 yards, good for a 15.5, where he had 1 catch.
And he's also going up against more teams that are soft against the run. He's got Oakland this week, and then the Falcons, who are also soft in the run.
And then to Chicago.
So, and this offense is trying to get more balance because they're not 100% sold on Jameis Winston. He's made a lot of mistakes this season.
He's had to throw the ball a lot, too.
Yeah, and they're going to try to reduce how many times he throws the ball. So they're going to try to feed Jaquiz Rogers, and that's already apparent from his, 57 carries in the first 2 games that he's been playing in. I think that they're really going to try to establish the run game. And I think Jaquiz has a good schedule ahead of him. So matchup-wise, I think he's an excellent pickup until Doug Martin returns.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he runs. Watching him, he runs hard. This is not the Jaquiz Rogers you saw in Atlanta.
No, not at all.
Really, he showed glimpses, but struggled so hard. Was the backup for most of his career, and then he gets that time to shine. He's really done a lot with it.
I think going forward, he'll even push Doug Martin for snaps as well when he returns.
Oh, there's no way you can really not give him looks. Even as good as Doug Martin is, the man has shown you he can really run that ball out in Tampa Bay. So I'm really liking him going forward, even with Doug Martin coming back. While he wouldn't say start him every week, those easy matchups you might be able to get him in there. And Doug Martin has shown that he's struggled to stay on the field this year. And we're gonna move right along. Another guy who aggravated his injury last week, but it was more during the game. I know you had him slayed. It's gonna be hard to say this last name because I've never actually heard it said. I don't watch Bills games. Mike Gillislee.
I believe you said that perfectly.
Yeah, it's
great.
the first time in your life.
Now, like I said, LaShawn McCoy played last week. I didn't think he was going to play. That hamstring injuries are always horrible, but that hamstring injury came back and bit him, and he had to leave the game, giving way to Gillislee last week. Had 5 attempts for 20 yards in very limited play. But how do you guys feel about Gillislee if McCoy can't go? A guy who's missed the last 2 practices. Instead of watching TV, how about we talk about the podcast?
I think he's going to get his opportunities because Rex Ryan likes to run the ball and play defense. Whether he's going to produce or not, I don't know. That'll be, determined this weekend. But Bill's O-line has been playing well for McCoy, so they should keep up that same play, create the holes. He's just got to hit the holes and get the yards. But he definitely has a situation in front of him that could potentially work out in fantasy.
He could be the Carlos Williams of last year.
Yeah, I don't know. This is probably like a 3 or 4 week at most, time where you're going to start this guy. But I think he could produce. I don't think I would start him personally this week. I think I would start someone else over him. But
that's definitely a guy you have to, against, especially going up against New England.
New England's tough. I hate the matchup, but I mean, honestly, the Bills lead the league in rushing. I think
they need to
their plan is to run the ball against New England. That's how they're going to beat them if they are able to. So I kind of like Gillislee this week, and until McCoy comes back, he's going to get a ton of volume, and the kid he leads the league in yards per carry.
Yeah, I think you definitely pick him up. Personally, I don't think I start him.
Maybe not this week.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it'll probably because I wanted to say or was going to say the Patriots will have a big lead in this game, but now that I really think about it, they might not. Rex might keep it close, play good defense.
Or get blown out because they're pissed off they got shut out at home for the first time in 20 years.
That's true.
So Tom Brady might be the angriest he's been all season.
I forgot about that.
That's also true.
Tom Brady.
They may be coming out slinging.
But yeah, I like Gillislee's situation a lot.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, those hamstring injuries are very nagging.
They're tough.
It does take a couple weeks.
McCoy's return.
McCoy, he might have tried to come back a little too early, and it might cost him
he
a couple
definitely
weeks. Did. He had to leave. I mean, didn't really do much. Yeah.
No, actually, Gillislee only played in the fourth quarter and actually outrushed McCoy's production on only 5 carries.
Yeah, crazy. And then one last guy I want to pick up. Last week, Philly did it again. They put out another player. This time it wasn't a quarterback, though. This time it was Jerick McKinnon. Jerick McKinnon took some rough shots, messed that knee up. Keep an eye on him. There's a possibility he doesn't play this week. And if he doesn't play, that's some big things for Matt Asiata this week. This is a guy in the past where when he starts, he either does nothing or gets 3 touchdowns out of nowhere. How do you guys feel about Matt Asiata, especially with a weak matchup against Chicago this week?
Well, I think, like you said, he either gets those 3 touchdowns or nothing. That's mainly because he's the goal line back. So if the situations are there, he'll be running them in. If the situations aren't there, he won't be. But this week, if McKinnon doesn't play, Asiata is the starting back. So not only will he get the goal line carries as he is used to, but he'll also be getting the back or the runs throughout the field and also the receiving yards because they do like to throw to him as well. So that's why I brought him up earlier. I think he's a great play this week, and definitely pick him up. If you got someone better this week, fine, but pick him up. I think you could see some use out of him for the weeks coming up.
Yeah.
Until McKinnon gets back, at least.
Week 5, the man had 14 carries for 55 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Against Houston, you run the ball in Houston. Houston can't stop the run. But still, he had the bye week 6, and then against Philadelphia, a very good defense who can stop that run. 12 carries, 55 yards. And if he can find that end zone, that's already a double digits right there with his receiving game. In our league, at least 6 catches for 25 yards. If he scores a touchdown, even in standard leagues, that's double-digit points, and that's all you can really ask for a running back, especially against a weak Chicago defense. Chicago can't do anything, apparently, this year. I'm liking Matt Asiata this week, especially if McKinnon can't play.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
Or
4th and goal.
Yeah, 4th and goal. You heard it here 4th.
And heard it here for it.
Corny.
That's great.
It's cool.
Yo, I want to talk about
What you want to talk about?
things.
I love it.
I wanted to point out a couple of players that were taken in the first round or the second round that haven't really been who we thought they were, as Dennis Green would say.
Frauds?
Oh, who they thought they were.
Frauds? Slightly fraudulent. Some people. So let's get this list started.
All right. Who we starting off with?
Who we got?
Who do we think they were?
I'm starting off with the ADP number 4.
What?
Average draft position.
Hey, come on now.
Number 4.
Get with the program games.
I'm sorry, it's been like 8 weeks since the draft. I forget all my terminology.
Jeez. All right, well, I'm going to go with DeAndre Hopkins. Number 23 ranked overall wide receiver. He's had one 100-yard game out of 7 games with 3 TDs and a high of 20.5 and half-point PPR. So what I kind of want to do with this is bounce it off to you guys and say, are you going to consistently start these guys week in and week out, or are you going to actually look at matchups and contemplate whether you're going to bench them or start them?
I'll kick us off. I have him in both the leagues I'm participating in this year. DeAndre Hopkins has struggled heavily, and it's really not DeAndre Hopkins' fault. It's Brock Osweiler's fault.
I can agree with that.
Now, also, last week, he did play Denver, and he played Denver 2 weeks ago. Struggling, my bad. Brain fart. Either way, I'm going to start DeAndre Hopkins this week against the Lions. This is the last chance I'm giving him before I consider him as a player you can't start every single week just because he's DeAndre Hopkins. The 23rd ranked receiver, like I said, I traded T.Y. for this guy. I heard the name. A lot of people have probably heard this name and were like, oh, DeAndre Hopkins is going to kill it this year. But he usually does it without good quarterback play, but this year with Osweiler, it doesn't look like Osweiler's ever thrown a ball in his life.
He doesn't look comfortable at all.
Like I said, though, I'm giving him one last chance against a weak Detroit Lions secondary. If he can't pop off this week and go back to even half of what he was last year, he really can't keep starting this man just because he's DeAndre.
He may no longer be matchup proof.
Yeah. And you've seen it with Denver. That Denver game was horrid. 5 catches, 36 yards. You did play him last week.
Yeah. Looking at his numbers here, he definitely has some stinkers, but not as bad as I thought his numbers would be based off of kind of the disappointment of the fantasy owners. He's had his 13s, his 20s, his 11s.
That's early on, though.
Early on, but even against Minnesota in Week 5, he had that 13-point game, and Week 6 against Indy had the 11.
Garbage time TD against Minnesota. I'll give you Indy, though.
I'll take it the way I can take it, garbage time or not. But, no, you're right. That's only a 56-yard performance, so that's pretty trash against Minnesota. 9 catches against Indy, though, and 5 against Denver. Anyway, he's definitely not matchup proof, as you can see when he plays the tougher defenses. New England, Denver. He doesn't produce as much, and I'm not going to blame him personally. I think Houston sucks, and Brock Osweiler sucks. But if you have anyone else, I don't know. You can't trust this.
I read something that said Brock Osweiler passes to DeAndre Hopkins. He's completed 35 out of 69 to DeAndre Hopkins. Thrown for 3 touchdowns and 6 interceptions when targeting him. It really doesn't make a lot of sense.
Oh, he can't find him and he doesn't want to.
You just got to make it harder on yourself because you can literally throw the ball anywhere around DeAndre Hopkins and he'll catch it. So it's really on the quarterback. Because you saw him perform well with Brian Hoyer last season.
That's true.
Yeah. And who's the other guy? Yates? Was that it?
Was it TJ
Oh,
Yates?
TJ
Yates.
That was two.
He
Yeah,
played with
he was
TJ
still
Yates
with
too,
them
and he
last
still
year.
went off. Yeah.
Hoyer fed that man. Jesus.
So
Turns out Hoyer's pretty good, though.
Yeah, Hoyer is
surprisingly.
way better than Brock Osweiler. Good job paying him $72 million.
But yeah, that's what I thought. I
Yeah.
figured DeAndre wasn't really matchup proof anymore.
And before we cut off
Yeah,
on
I'm
DeAndre
definitely starting to
Hopkins,
worry about him, though, for sure.
I got a special guest who wants to say something a little about DeAndre Hopkins. Actually, our biggest fan ever. G Ball himself has made it to the podcast. What you got to say about DeAndre Hopkins this week?
Well, I just want to start off by saying that I want to say that Case Keenum for the Rams threw against Detroit, I want to say 2 weeks ago, for 28 points. It was like 3 touchdowns and 300 yards. So I want to point that out there. So I feel like Brock Osweiler's about to have the game of his life against this Detroit defense. So I want to look to DeAndre Hopkins for this week to go off for above 20 points or more because he's going to destroy their secondary. It's going to actually be sad. It's going to be like a man taking candy from the baby. It's really bad.
He had better be.
It's definitely a bold prediction, but at the same time, Brock Osweiler really is. If Case Keenum can tear up that defense,
So you're
I
saying
seriously
Hobbs back
believe-
this week, G-Ball?
I do. I believe he's going to get all his confidence
His second
back this
100-yard
week.
performance of the year comes
Yes.
this game? All right.
About to knock it up real quick, and I'm loving it. It's music to my ears. All right, Craig, you want to give us another player?
Yeah.
Looks like you got a couple down there.
I do got
I'm
a few.
Very interesting.
I do got a few, Ball. I do. I'm going to go with Todd Gurley, who is also a very early peak. He's a number 18th ranked running back, which isn't terrible. But what is terrible is he's had 0 100-yard games out of 7 games played, and the most rushing yards he's had in a game is 85. He's got 3 touchdowns on the year, and his high is 20.5.
Todd Gurley has struggled, man. He was a guy people were picking number 1 overall, number 2 overall.
Yeah.
I really wanted Todd Gurley. Unfortunately, I couldn't get Todd Gurley. I settled with Adrian Peterson. I don't know if it worked out for me in the end. At least Todd Gurley has played. But Todd Gurley, man, that offense is so vanilla. Case Keenum, I do not know how Jeff Goff has sat on the bench with how Keenum has been playing these last 2 weeks. But apparently Jeff Fisher knows more than I do because he is an NFL coach. Todd Gurley, I'm a little worried about right now. Running back, you can find a lot of people right now, especially with all the injuries, that you can still go get. who at any moment can put up more points than Todd Gurley because the Rams just don't know how to open holes for the guy.
No, it's depressing, honestly. It hurts me. Because now I'm questioning if Todd Gurley is really the talent that we saw last year or not.
Come on now.
You can't.
He's the lowest in
Say
yards
yes
per
to
carry in the
everything.
NFL.
And his season high is 85 rush yards, and that took him 27 attempts to acquire.
That's
Yeah.
absurd.
And but that offensive line is complete trash bags.
You guys are sassy.
Dude, we're not really
I
trying to
hate
come
to
at your
say
team.
it,
We're
man.
just spitting knowledge.
Ever heard of a sophomore slump before, Craig?
Yeah, multiple times.
Yeah, well, this is one of those.
Well, he better
And
This
clean
isn't a
himself
sophomore
up.
slump. It might be a sophomore
You
dump.
don't say
Sophomore
that.
More like
Dump him right to
sophomore
waivers.
definition.
Listen, Todd might not be the stud he was last year yet, but in terms of fantasy, I mean, he's still like a running back 2, maybe a flex option. He's been last 3 games, 15.5, 10, 11.
I agree. He's
Not
definitely
terrible.
He
It's
definitely puts up at least running back 2 numbers.
He's gotten better.
And before that, he had a 9.5 and a 20.5. So it's not like this dude is getting zeros for you. In terms of fantasy, he's still getting his work. He gets the goal line looks. He has 3 touchdowns on the year. It's just tough with a young O-line who isn't that disciplined right now and a struggling passing game usually. It's hard to get that run going. Last year, he was able to do it by himself and really just create plays. But this year, it seems like the vision isn't always there. I see him running into his O-line a lot. I see him missing holes. I don't know really what the deal is because his athleticism is still there. I know the Rams have been trying to, or at least talking about throwing him the ball more because they, it was a couple games back, I think,
Yeah, they
against
really
Buffalo
have.
or something where he started catching. No, it was against Arizona. That was it. He had 5 catches. So since then, they were like, oh, let's try to throw him the ball more. And they try, but they don't try enough. Like, they really don't throw him the ball enough. They got to get him on the outside more because the O-line isn't creating the holes. And even looking at his schedule, he plays some tough matchups. The Jets, who have a good run defense. New England's down there. Seattle's down there again. Arizona's there again. So when you're playing teams like that...
Even Carolina coming off the bye is a pretty tough run defense.
Carolina off the bye. Miami, who's been playing better defense recently. I'm just talking in terms of fantasy. Todd, maybe try to make a trade if you can get another need back for him. But you're going to be selling low right now because he hasn't done much. So, maybe hold on to him and see. I still think he's a start every week. The next game, he's on bye this week. The next game he plays is against Carolina. I would start him. Depends who you got, actually.
Bold.
Yeah, we got to think about it. A lot of people do not have a guy they can switch Gurley out for right now. And after seeing that, I really didn't see that he was catching the ball. Now, that's not a guy they used to throw the ball to a lot. If they can get him the ball, he's going to eventually break out. So, maybe I changed my mind a bit about Todd Gurley. I don't think I'm that worried anymore. Especially since with my running backs, I wouldn't have anybody.
I don't know. We'll see about that. We'll see about that.
But yeah, for a first half of the season, that was weak for him.
I just got one more thing to say. Todd Gurley.
Nobody
I did
cares.
Pick him up, right? He's not done well for me, but I do believe if they keep feeding him the ball in the flat, then he will be able to go off for a couple good catching. He might even get a couple receiving touchdowns. You never know. If they have been loving the screens that they've been setting up for him the past couple games, but they're just not doing it as consistent as I'd like them to. So
Very true. And like I said, that offense really is very vanilla. They need to put in... I'm saying it right here. Just put in Jared Goff. How bad could the kid be? He's going to open the offense. He has to. Come on now. Just put him in. Can't be worse than Keenum. You got any more?
No, we'll revisit that next
All right.
week.
Then we're going to wrap it up with Hail Marys. Get to watching this beautiful game against the Titans and the Jaguars. Now, how excited I've been all day. So, oh my lord, somebody start us off. I just bapped up my phone and it just turned off.
I can start us off. I
Who
got
we
a Hail
got,
Mary.
Pace?
This week, I am playing, for your Hail Mary picks, a man who is owned in 0.0% of leagues.
So he's probably not available.
At least at the time that I got this. Yeah, I mean, listen, I know you're not going to be able to get a guy that highly owned, but see what you can do. Make a trade. No. The player is Russell Shepard of the Buccaneers, wide receiver. We just had Vincent Jackson go out for the year. Right?
Yeah, ACL.
Yeah, ACL out for the year.
That offense likes to throw the ball. I know Mike Evans gets a majority of those targets, and when I say majority, I mean majority.
I mean all.
Everything.
But I think you're going to see either Russell Shepard get more production or maybe Adam Humphries, but I'm thinking it's going to go towards Russell Shepard. Last week against San Francisco, he had 5 catches for 77 yards and a touchdown, which earned him a 15.5 in our fantasy league. He caught 5 of 6 targets, and so Jameis is definitely looking for him. This week coming up, the Buccaneers are playing Oakland, which should be a pretty decent matchup. And even after that, they're playing Atlanta, Chicago, a couple more teams right there. So you could even get some production out of him. But with all the buys this week and a man that's barely owned, he's going to be my Hail Mary, Russell Shepard. Listen, Jameis has to throw the ball somewhere. Vincent Jackson, he definitely wasn't the number one, but he was still getting his looks. And I think Shepard will step in there and show his athleticism and get you some fantasy points. He just did it last week against San Fran, so look out for him against Oakland this week.
I like that, Russ Shepard.
And as a man, all I have is my name and my word. And I'll tell you what, that Russell Shepard took my word and threw it on the ground and stomped on it. Because I was bragging about Cameron Brate all week. I was like, oh, no Vincent Jackson. Cameron Brate is about to have his cake and eat it too. And then Russell Shepard went off and scored 2 touchdowns. I like that as a Hail Mary. He looked for him last game. Why not give him a shot this game?
For sure.
Who's up next?
You go?
Ain't me.
Slade?
I'll go next.
All right. Once my phone loads up, I'll go next.
This week, for my Hail Mary, I'm going for a guy that has scored 4 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. He's available in 86% of leagues, only owned in 13.9. This is wide receiver Brandon LaFell of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Wow.
Paid off for me last week.
Has a money matchup this week against Washington, with A.J. Green likely to be covered most of the game by Josh Norman. There's not really anyone else left there to cover Brandon LaFell. They have a ton of injuries. Rashad Breeland has been awful this year as the Redskins' second cornerback. He's allowed a ton of yardage in touchdowns. Brandon LaFell had 4 catches for 83 yards and a tug last week against Cleveland. So I think this week against Washington, he could get another one. He's been a favorite target of young Sandy Dalton. So, yeah, why not Brandon LaFell, man? Like I said, he's been scoring a lot lately, and he averages over 10 points a game for the year. So you can pick him up and maybe even keep him on your bench going forward. I like Brandon LaFell this week.
That's respectable.
Good pick.
You know what? I don't need no stats. I'm great at this. My Hail Mary this week is going to... I hate the matchup, but I gotta say it. Terrence Williams, the Dallas Cowboys, playing Philadelphia this week. Now, if it wasn't scary, could I actually call this a Hail Mary? Because it is pretty scary that Philly, while their cornerbacks aren't great, their pass rush has been getting to the quarterbacks. They're racing a young, stud right now in Dak Prescott. And to top it all off, Dez Bryant is probably coming back this week. But don't fret. I don't know if Dez is going to be 100%. That fractured knee after 3 weeks. He's been trying to play for weeks and still hasn't.
He got cleared 3 weeks ago. He's just a soft.
Yeah, and in his absence, Terrence Williams has really, really started to go off.
Yeah.
The touchdowns aren't really there, but he's consistently put up 88 yards in week 3. 44 yards against San Francisco, but had his first touchdown of the season. And then the last 2 weeks had 70 yards and 75 yards. Dak's been looking for him. Even with Dez Bryant there, if he isn't healthy, Dez is going to be one of the greatest decoys I've ever seen. And I think that Terrence Williams is going to eat a little bit off people looking at Dez. So he's owned in 15.2% of leagues. Definitely can go get this man. If you're desperate, there's a receiver you can give a flex look to. Might even give you that touchdown against Philly on Sunday night. And it's awesome to have night games. Love the night games. Ow.
Well, alrighty then. I'm going to have to go with a guy who's slowly reemerging into the NFL light, Cordarrelle Patterson. He's the number 73 ranked wide receiver. And he's scored a touchdown in the last 2 games he's played while also getting 8 targets both games. I think that has to do a little bit with Stephon Diggs' injury, but also he's been known to be a playmaker. Zimmer knows he's a playmaker. They said that they've been trying to find ways to get him the ball on the offensive side of the game. So I think Cordarrelle Patterson could have another touchdown easily and could even put up more yards than he has been.
Very smart.
I like Cordarrelle a lot.
Yeah, and
Sam's been looking for him.
And I love that he's their kick returner because at any point he's so fast he could just bust off for a kick return, and that's a free 6 points right there.
No doubt.
It's lovely.
I was gonna go with Thielen this week, but Cordell, man, I couldn't hear Cordell's name and then say Adam Thielen's name in the same right after that. So I like Patterson this week against Chicago. That's very smart. And that looks like we're about wrapped up here. Week 8, man. I can't wait. So, as usual, we're going to hand it over to Pace. He's going to tell you where you can follow us, where you can watch us, and everything that's good with that. I'll say what? You do this every week.
We done, guys? You guys want to do game picks or no?
You want to do game picks?
No.
I forgot about game picks.
It's up to you guys.
I don't know.
Let's run through them real quick. One-word answers. I'm going to run through the games.
One-word
and
answers,
then
great.
your boys are going to go watch some beautiful Thursday night football. So we're going to start with Thursday night football. Jacksonville, Tennessee. I hate to say it. I'm going to go with the Jags tonight.
Don't hate to say that.
I hate it.
I got the Jags too.
Jags!
Just kidding. Jaguars.
Wow, sweet
that's
for
good.
Jacksonville. Then the London game. We got Cincinnati versus Washington.
That's a
I
tough
think
one.
the home team, which is very weird for London, Cincinnati is going to take this one.
I'm also going to go Cincinnati in the game.
Washington for me.
Who we going, Craig? One-word answers.
Cincy. Dalton's been looking good.
He has been.
Great. Buffalo at home versus New England. New England.
New England.
England.
New England.
Got the Carolina Panthers at home versus Arizona. I'm gonna give it to Arizona. I don't think that offense struggles this game.
Panthers.
I'm going Panthers also.
I think I'm also going to go Panthers. I think Cam has a big game this week. I'm feeling him.
Smart.
Interesting. Then we got the greatest team alive, Cleveland Browns at home versus the New York Jets. Ryan Fitzpatrick comes back, gets another W.
Did you guys know that the Jets in their history 4 different times have been the only win on another team's season?
No, I didn't know that.
And I think
Interesting
it's
stat.
going to happen again for the 5th time this year. Cleveland's going to win their first game.
That's great, eh?
And this probably isn't going to happen again, but I'm going to give Cleveland their second vote for a win. I think this is the only time they get it. Yeah.
Can they get 3?
That's not bad, man. I'm going Browns.
There you go. The
McCown is
Lance
coming
with
back.
Frank.
McCown's coming back.
Jets. They ain't gonna win.
Pryor's coming back.
Oh, McCown is.
Barnage.
I'm still going. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick's mad. He's gonna go off.
LeBron's back this week. I'm going Cleveland.
Yeah, come on now.
Doesn't matter.
Triple double.
Houston at home versus Detroit. Detroit.
Detroit.
Brock Osweiler still playing for Houston?
Yeah.
Detroit.
Indy at home versus KC. Very biased. Indianapolis wins it.
This is hard.
That's
It is.
hard.
That's a really tough one. I'm gonna go KC in that one. Sorry, Bass.
Smart.
I think I'm riding the Andy Luck train. I think Indy's going to do it to him. I mean, Kansas City played great. Wait, who's at home?
Indy.
All right,
Shut
yeah,
up,
I'm
man.
going Indy because if you're at Kansas City on the road, that's a hard place to play. But I think I like Indy.
I think Peters takes Hilton out of this one. Ware runs all day. I don't know. I think it's too much for Indy.
That is true. The
I
run
can
game,
definitely see
the
that.
defense is so abysmal that you could give it to the
Houston's
other team
back
every
this
week.
week. It's gonna be tough for Indy. I think.
I'll just go Indy, just because.
Wow, 3 Indy, 1 KC. Very interesting. All right, we got New Orleans at home versus Seattle. Seattle.
Nola.
That's going to be Seattle, probably.
I'm going Nola.
I'm going New Orleans based on how Seattle's been playing. If New Orleans gets 21 points at home, they're gonna beat them by 15. So
Special guest Griffin Ball as the tiebreaker. Here we go. In New Orleans at home versus Seattle.
I'm gonna have to give it to New Orleans, to be honest with you. Just because if you really think about it, New Orleans' defense isn't the best, but
the offensive line for the Seattle has been so terrible. So I'm not sure if Russell Wilson can actually handle it.
Interesting. Let's roll right along. Tampa Bay at Oakland. I think Oakland wins another one.
Oakland.
Tampa.
Oh, switching it up.
I like being the underdog this week.
Of course. And then we got Denver at home versus San Diego. I can't go back on my word. I think San Diego sweeps them twice.
That's crazy talk.
It is.
Definitely going
I have
Denver.
a feeling.
Denver's at home.
Denver's at home in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also taking Denver. I don't think San Diego gets them twice this year.
Yeah, it's going to be Denver if they're at home,
Ah.
which they are.
Atlanta at home versus Green Bay.
Atlanta.
That firepower is too much. How are they going to stop Julio Jones? Please tell me.
Yeah, you don't beat Matt Ryan at home. I'm going to go Atlanta. Slid?
Rodgers.
Philly at Dallas. Dallas is at home. Doesn't happen always every single year when the other team's at home. The away team wins. I'm going Philly. Why not? Carson wins that rookie
I think
battle.
I like Philly too.
Yeah, Dallas doesn't play their best ball at home usually, so I'm
Surprisingly.
gonna go Philly also.
I think Philly gets their third upset win of the year. So yes, I'm on Philly as well.
Yeah.
And this terrible Monday
Plus we
night
play
game.
Dallas better in Dallas than we do at home usually. So I think if we're going to get them at all this year, it's probably going to be the one in Dallas.
And last but not least, Chicago at home versus Minnesota. This one's tough, Minnesota.
Vikings.
Easy.
Vikings. That's a wrap.
That's easy.
Woo! It wasn't as quick as I thought it was, but that was pretty quick. Here's your game picks this week. All right, now, as I was saying before we got interrupted by Pace, hey, Pace, how about you do something with your life and tell them where they can follow and watch our podcast at.
All right, hit us up on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. It's called Fourth and Goal. Just search it. We'll come right up. Watch us there live every Thursday at 7 p.m. We go live on YouTube. We accept questions, comments, thumbs ups, and subscribe, so please do all of that.
Please.
And then follow us on Twitter. It's Fourth and Goal Cast. We are G's on Twitter, so follow us. And we got polls, we got advice, we got question answer, and we got all that stuff. So follow Fourth and Goal on Twitter, and then hear the podcast on SoundCloud and Stitcher and on YouTube also. And any final words?
No. Thanks for tuning in as always, peeps.
And remember, go Eagles!
And go Jaguars.
I forgot to introduce myself this week. I'm Barry Matthews.
Who the hell is Barry Matthews?
Yay Fields here.
Go Rams.
Check that. Indy wasn't said.
Check that Rams up.
Love Indy.
Have a good week, everybody.
I love football.
I
we off the grid?
Jalen Ramsey's looking really slow right now.
Yeah, right.
Really slow.
That's hilarious.